Good morning, everyone. Um, I am coming to you making a video. I want to talk about this personality disorder. This is what I have. And I've been doing personality disorders from others clusters, such as cluster A and cluster B. I think this is my first cluster C one, but I mean it's what I've got. It's avoidant personality disorder. Um, the first thing I want to start off with is the symptom criteria. Um, there's seven criterias. So I think you have to meet three or four of them. Okay, criteria number one is avoiding jobs with social content. This would be like, if if like you're working in a hostile environment, like where people is really kind of hostile towards you and stuff, it makes it almost impossible to deal with. Um, it's very hard. I've been there. I've done that. I used to work for Domino's. It was a slow Domino's, so I was in the store with the manager more than I was with my other Domino's. My other Domino's, um, this was long before I had a disorder. It didn't start on me until I was probably right around in my mid 20s, and maybe I didn't notice the symptoms, but I was probably having some. I'm sure, but as I got older, it started to become more and more and more and more evident that there was no doubt that I have avoidant personality disorder. Like I said, avoiding jobs with social content, like if you know that it's going to be a hostile environment, or if you've got a feel that it's going to be a hostile environment, if you're like me, you can sense when you go for an interview that it might turn into a hostile environment, especially a fast food place, because you might get busy. And when you get busy, a lot of times there's a mistake or two that happens, and you get the order wrong, and then it turns into a really big problem. Um, it might not look. I mean, it might not be as big a problem as we people with avoidant personalities or think it is, but I'm the type of person that just anything out of the ordinary, you don't have to holler it. You don't have to. I mean, you can just say something to, you know, well, you need to go over there. You need to be doing that. To me, it feels like an insult. So that's what I'm talking about by avoiding jobs with social content. Criteria number two: not forming friendships. Um, my ability to form friendships is just about gone. I mean, literally gone to the point that I don't even, unfortunately, I don't even try no more. But particularly because of all this stuff going on, the racial stuff and stuff, you just don't. I just fear that I'm not going to be accepted, and if I'm not going to be accepted, or if I'm not going to be liked, I'm not going to participate. So that's part of forming relationships. Very hard to do in avoidant personality disorder. Um, the third criteria is restraint within intimate relationships, meaning you're having like a restraint within your personal relationship with your loved one that you're going with or you're married to. To me, I really, to me, the restraint would be like it's sort of like fear of abandonment, like it is with borderline. Um, and in some situations, it could be, you know, you just want to keep your distance. You want to be in a relationship, but you want to keep your distance. You know, it kind of sort of comorbid borderline there because sometimes you get the idolization and the devaluation of borderline. Like, and you could say, well, there's times when they don't want me around, and then there's times when they want me around. So that's where it comorbids with borderline a little bit, in my opinion. Okay, so criteria number 4 is difficulty in social situations, meaning like when you have a family get together or the holidays just seem really tough because you're around a lot of people, um, and a lot of people with avoidant personality disorder get extremely uncomfortable come the holiday season. Some may don't, most do. I do, and I'll get to the reason why in a later video. Um, but the restraint within intimate relationships and the difficulty in social situations is very strong. Um, that inhibited with new relationships, you develop what is called the I don't quite trust you good enough yet. And for people with avoidant personality disorder, that can quickly cause the person to run away. And then you you have the potential to blame yourself for it, which, you know, is fairly not out of the normal for someone with avoidant personality disorder. Okay, feelings of inept and inferior. The feelings of inept um, and inferior is like, I don't know. It's like you have difficulty leaving. I'm gonna make sure I get this right here because I gotta make sure I get this video right. The intimate relationships is because of fear of shame. Um, but yeah, the inept inferior is, you know, is a very strong problem with avoidant personality disorder. Criteria number 7 is avoiding risk. Meaning, if you know that there's a high probability that you are about to be in a risky situation, you will avoid it. If there's a phone call from a family member that's trying to come after you with a risky situation, you will just transfer it to the voicemail, or you will just cut it off. Not the phone, but you'll say like, look, enough's enough. Um, I know I said I would do it in a later video, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it now and get it over with. The reason why I have avoidant personality disorder is because the way I was brought up. I was brought up with a narcissistic father, and a histrionic, um, mother that showed signs of narcissism. But my grandmother, she raised me and my brother, and they were always out, um, running around, playing games, um, such things that histrionic personality disorder people do, and narcissistic personality disorder people do. Um, I was always ridiculed, like, like, when I mean that, I mean, like, I was always devalued, not by a BPD, but a narcissist. My dad, I was always criticized. Everything I'd done was wrong. It was I never could do nothing right, and if I missed just a little mistake, it was the humongous mistake that I have ever made with him. That is narcissistic personality disorder, and that's the reason why I have avoidant personality disorder, because I, like the other day when I went to the grocery store, I had all my groceries, and except I forgot one thing. Guess what that was? My wallet at home. Guess what? I couldn't purchase the food. Luckily, I only live a half mile up the road from the grocery store, so I just told him to push the cart to the side, and I would be back in about 5 minutes. It was the most total embarrassing thing that I have had happen to me in probably at least 2 months. Now, with avoidant personality disorder with me, I do have. Now, this may be because of the medication I'm on too, but I do have problems with memorizing things. Um, like, when I get ready to leave or something, um, and I want to talk about that too. I can't deal with any stress traffic wise in the daytime. I can't deal with going to the store in the daytime. I have to go. It sounds weird, but I have to go at 3 o'clock in the morning when I feel like I'm least seen. And there's this person that works up there on third shift that I know I'm really liked, and I can have a friendship with her, because me with avoidant personality disorder, I'm not going to start a conversation because of shyness and stuff. They started a conversation with me. She started a conversation with me, and I was shy. Was I ever shy? But the more I got to know her and stuff, I would. She turned out to be a pretty good friend. She still works there, and you know, but I mean, as far as forming new friendships and stuff, they normally have to come to you, and you have to. It might take a year to build up trust, but if one little thing goes wrong, it seems like it all goes wrong, and the it's not really known in the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. It's not really known that in the DSM-5 that there's um, anger and frustration in avoidant personality disorder. But if you watch the movie Adaptation from 2002, you will see that there is actually, maybe not quite as bad, but it's close to being the anger, the agitivity, and the rates of possible suicide and self-harm is actually, in my view, rather closer to borderline personality disorder people than what you would think. And for people that doesn't have avoidant personality disorder, you're very blessed, or borderline, or any personality disorder. But avoidant, to me, what stands out with avoidant personality disorder in the cluster C is that you feel like it's just you're imprisoned in your home, and you shouldn't feel that. You shouldn't have to feel that way. There's treatment for it, but my last experience with treatment went the most absolute horrific way that I could ever imagine. My husband has borderline personality disorder, and he's been diagnosed with avoidant personality disorder too. But and he's got high functioning autism. Avoidant personality disorder, with that, it there is some trouble, but there's also a lot of understanding between the two of us. And the thing that I want to say about avoidant personality disorder and borderline personality disorder, they have their own way of how they love you. It might not be the way you want it to be, but it's their way of doing it. And by no means are they trying to push you away. I know that with the borderline and stuff is the idealization, the evaluation cycle. But people with borderline love. They know what love is. Some people say, well, borderlines lack some empathy about certain situations, sort of like with antisocial. But with any cluster B disorder or with any personality disorder, they're all comorbid at some point. Because, okay, like if you look at the covert narcissist, right? He or she's going to distance themselves. And that's always a bad thing. But with avoidant personality disorder, when they distance themselves, it usually means that they've cut you off. When they cut you off, it's pretty much a done deal, and you best hope that you can get their trust back, because it's hard. It's hard to get someone with avoidant personality disorder. It's hard to get their trust back, but it can be done. But for those of you, and I've said this to all the other videos that I've uploaded about different personality disorders, and I'm doing the same thing for avoidant personality disorder. When you are diagnosed with this mental health disorder, please remember, it's not the end of the world. Okay? It's not the end of the world. There is light. And I said the same thing with borderline. There's light and there's roses at the end of the tunnel. Might not see it, but It's there. And we have to love and support each other. And I'm so glad that there's groups on Facebook that's just about supportive of I mean, there's different groups with different personality disorders. Avoidant and borderline to me stand out the strongest because they're out desperate, reaching for love, and it just seems to fail on us. But we will get it right. Okay? Avoidant personality disorder people, I'm there with you. I've got the diagnosis. I know what it's like. I know what the tears and crying and stuff is like of having to feel like you're in your home all the time or you can't leave to go nowhere, and if you do, it's at night when you're least seen and stuff. It's really hard, and sometimes difficulty planning can be an issue as well. But I want you guys to know one thing. I'm always here for you guys, and that's never going to change. And we will beat this disorder. We might not be cured from it, but we're going to get better. Same thing goes for borderline personality disorder. You're going to get better. Same thing goes for the rest of the personality disorders that I've uploaded about. You're going to get better. You might not think so, but it will. It might not be the way that we want it to be, but it's going to get some better. It's going to get to the point to where we can at least manage it. Like right now, I can't even manage it. It's tough, but I know I got it to do, and that's what I'm going to do. My advice is if you run into someone that's really full of conflict and that's really wanting to keep trouble stirred up, such as a grandiose narcissist, a grandiose narcissist, they're always going to keep something stirring the kettle going. So those type of people, try to avoid if you can. And by no means I'm not devaluing. I'm not devaluating people with narcissistic personality disorder. They just need help. That's all. But the problem is they won't seek it. And the same thing can be said for avoidant personality disorder. It's hard for us to seek it because it's hard for us to trust anybody. But we got to get there. And with the support, we can do it. We've got support on Facebook. We got support on YouTube. And we can do it. I love all you guys. I'm praying for everybody to get better. And let's move on and have a better life. At least have a manageable life. Thank you. And I want every one of you guys to have a blessed day. Thank you very much. And I will upload a video of another personality disorder. I'm going to try to do all 10 personality disorders. And then I'm going to do more, in the mental health, such as bipolar, schizophrenia, what causes them, and then probably do what causes these types of personality disorders. I do know ADHD is a common factor, usually in the cluster C and some of the cluster A, but conduct disorder is usually with a cluster B and some cluster A's. But in order to be diagnosed with a conduct disorder, it has to happen before age 18. And for antisocial personality disorder, it has to be the antisocial has to be done after they turn the age of 18 or when they turn age 18. But avoidant personality disorder is real. It's a serious mental health disorder, but it's one that we can manage, and we will. Thank you, and God bless you guys, and I hope that y'all get better and continue to get better and get this disorder at least to a manageable situation. Thank you, and have a blessed day, and we will talk to you later, and peace out.